All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
Good morning, and what is up? This is ASAP in the morning. No, it's not Red Kingdom. I am your host, Greg, for this morning, and I'm here with my man, Dustin. Dustin, what's going on?
Not much. I guess we're running with the skeleton crew for a while today, but hey, we'll make it work.
Oh, yeah, we will definitely make it work, my man. Thank everybody for tuning in. NBA playoffs this weekend started. It was some great games this weekend. Of course, we're going to start off talking about Nets and Celtics. That's the marquee matchup. The Celtics won 115-114 yesterday. Jason Tatum with the game-winning layup at the buzzer. Before we talk about Kyrie and his antics, we'll focus on the game. The Nets were doing well. It was just Kyrie and, KD that were doing everything on the offensive side for the Nets. Dustin, do you think that's going to be enough for the Nets to win this series? Because it seems like it seems like Kyrie and KD are the only ones that want to shoot the ball. I don't know if anybody else felt that way. But is this two-man offense going to be enough to win this series?
I think it can be, because when you look at their series against the Milwaukee Bucks last year, it was a one-man offense with Kevin Durant, because Irving was out with an ankle injury and James Harden was coming back from a hamstring injury and pretty much gave Brooklyn next to nothing those final three games. And Brooklyn came within 1 centimeter of eliminating the Bucks, just with Kevin Durant carrying that team. It's not the typical way to go about things, and it's not necessarily the right way to go about things, but if you have two players carrying your offense and you lost to a very good Boston Celtics team by 1 point, you have to like your chances going forward, especially if you can get any kind of production from anybody outside of those two. Of all the series that are going to be first-round series, this is one of the two series that I think is going to end up going 7 games, mainly because these two teams play in the same division. They play each other 4 times a year as it is. They know each other very well. And you have a Brooklyn Nets team that, when they were healthy, they showed that they were the best team in the Eastern Conference. And then you have a Boston Celtics team who, since the end of January, has been the best team in the Eastern Conference for a reason. These two teams are going to exchange blows all 7 games. It's going to be a 7-game series. I think Brooklyn can win the series just because they have the best player in Kevin Durant in the series. But they are going to need more than Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving to knock off Boston.
Yeah, I'm looking at the box score right now. The only other 2 people that were in double figures for the Nets were Claxton and Dragic. So they're going to need Seth Curry to step up and be that third scorer. I feel like whoever can be that third option is gonna win this series. So if we're going off that, Seth Curry, who's supposed to be the third option for the Nets, he only had 9. And then the third option for the Celtics, Marcus Smart, he had 20. So
And look at the difference in the game. That's an 11-point swing right there, and the Celtics still only won by 1 point.
They only won by
And
one. So
that's what I've said about the Brooklyn Nets. As frustrating as a team as they have been this year, because we've seen how good they can be, and then we've seen how bad they can be. They are still, in my opinion, the scariest team in the Eastern Conference, just because people know what Kevin Durant did in the playoffs basically by himself last year, and how close they came to knocking off the Bucks by himself last year. Now you have Kyrie Irving with him, who's healthy. You have a better supporting cast around him than I think he had last year. Where if Irving can play the way he did the rest of the series and the rest of the playoffs, then if you get any kind of consistent production from the second unit or from Curry or from any of those guys, Brooklyn's a team that can make it to the NBA Finals out of the 7 seed, just because they have the one guy in the Eastern Conference who's a matchup nightmare where you really can't defend him in Kevin Durant.
yeah, KD still put up KD numbers. He was had 23, 9 for 24 from the field. Kyrie 39 points, 12 for 20, 6 of 10 from 3. Kyrie and the Celtic fans. This is reminding me of like old school, like
Pistons and Bulls.
Yeah, Pistons Bulls, where everybody hates everybody and fans hate everybody and all that good stuff. So, first off, okay, let's start with what Kyrie did first, and then we'll get to the fans. So they're on him all game. He's getting a little irritated by it, and he flips him off.
Yeah.
Now, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Because I feel like at that point you're just adding more gas to the fire. It's like now they're really about to start getting on you every game because now you have reacted to what they've been doing. So what were your thoughts on that?
I mean, Irving is Irving. He's kind of always been a head case in my opinion, just because we've seen just kind of how he handled the whole vaccine, non-vaccine situation with just his opinion. I'm not going to knock him for that, but he's been known to be a head case at times. So it doesn't surprise me as to what he did. It doesn't surprise me that the fans have kind of gotten on him as much as they have and kind of created that we hate you, you hate us mantra side of things. He's just got to hope it doesn't turn into a suspension and that it only comes as to a fine, because if he ends up getting suspended only one game even, that could be the difference between the Nets moving on and the Nets going home, because if you fall behind the Celtics 2-0, it's going to be very hard to go 4-1 against them those final 5 games, despite how good Brooklyn can be. So as long as Irving doesn't get suspended and only gets fined, I don't think it's really going to do too much outside of the fact that they're going to be on his case even more in Game 2 because of what he did. But then when the Celtics come to Brooklyn for Games 3 and 4, they're going to be on Brooklyn's case just as much as Boston was on Kyrie's case. So it's just going to be a revolving door and a revolving cycle, and it's just a matter of who can handle the situation better. As much as I hate the actions that Kyrie Irving did, I think it's actually going to motivate him even more, because we've seen what Kyrie Irving can do kind of when he has that added sense of motivation behind him.
Yeah, I could see him easily in this next game doing the same thing, dropping 35, 40 in game 2. When it happened, I was like, no, Kyrie, don't do that, because now it's about to be really, it's really about to be on now. But at the same time, it's kind of what we talked about in other sports, as far as where is it crossing the line when fans, are saying bad words to you and all that stuff. And I've always looked at it as fans are going to be fans. They're going to say stuff to you that they probably shouldn't. And it's up to you to be like, look, I ain't going to worry about that. I'm going to focus on the game. And I don't want it to be where Kyrie is distracted on the court because he's more focused on what the Celtics fans are saying. Well, Freddie, from what we know, they said they were calling him P word, B word. Everything in the book is what Kyrie was saying, so that's what was being said to him, and that's why he ended up flipping him off. What's going on, Mike?
What's going on, fellas? Hope y'all having a good day so far. Oh, I'm ready to get into this. I'm ready to get let's roll.
All right, my man Mike. So first off, let's start off with your thoughts on the game and the Kyrie flipping off Celtics fans.
All right, Greg and Stat Guy, I have a problem with that. The fact that Kyrie went through some stuff, and again, I'm old school and all that. I feel that he received a whole lot of negative feedback from the crowd. Hey, you can boo, you can say things, but when you go to another level, to me, that takes it to another level. So I don't condone what he did. I don't condone it, but I don't blame him, because how many of y'all can take what he took? As far as the game's concerned, I think that great game, exciting game. It was awesome. Great back and forth. I thought that the Celtics played a very good defensive game. I thought that the Nets should have had the game won. I think at one of the last plays, Kyrie dribbled way too much, got double teamed, tried to give the ball to Durant when he was 2 seconds left on the clock. That definitely didn't help. But it was a great game, and I think that the Celtics have something to worry about, because KD's not going to play like he did yesterday. He's going to do the damn thing, and he's not going to play that as bad as he did. 9 for 24. I think that's what 9 for 24 or whatever.
24. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, KD is not going to do that again. So great game. The Celtics pulled it out. And again, they don't have Mr. Williams around, maybe until maybe game 4, game 5. I think it gave some impetus to the Nets. I think the Nets are going to be all right. As long as they pull this one out, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, the Nets can't go down 0-2. So I feel like this is a must-win game coming up for them. I know they'll be going back home for 2 if they do go down 2 games, but I feel like it needs to be 1-1 going back to Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. So does this game 1 with the Celtics win, does that change what you guys think will happen in the series? Do y'all still have the Nets winning, or are you guys thinking Celtics now?
I picked Brooklyn going to the NBA Finals from the beginning of the year. And even though they're the 7th seed, I got to stick with that. Because you have to look at it. Durant did not have a typical Durant night. And then you had Marcus Smart drop 20 points while Seth Curry dropped 9. Curry hits one more three-pointer or even one more bucket. Brooklyn wins by 1 point. Durant even does what he typically does. Now you're looking at a 10-point win by Brooklyn. If Durant even plays anywhere close to the way he played in last year's playoffs, Boston's in trouble, because he carried that team on his own last year to Game 7 against Milwaukee, and like I said, came a centimeter away from eliminating him on his own.
Yeah, he was 1 inch away last year. Mike, do you still have the Nets winning this series, or we thinking Celtics now?
100% Nets. The Celtics started off with they have the height advantage, of course. And they went big man at the beginning of the game, if you all remember. They went big man. I think that, Seth Curry's going to have a bigger role in the next game and for the rest of the playoffs. 9 points, that's not him. I think that the Nets are going to look at film, because if you watch that last play, you had 2 guys who were standing around watching the Celtics play. Kevin Durant was at the foul line. I don't know what he was doing. I have no clue. And as far as the coaching aspect, you would think that who is the go-to guy for the Celtics? Tatum. And if you don't keep an eye on Tatum, first of all, they should have went man-to-man, strictly man-to-man. And then you had two players go after Marcus Smart, who was not a great outside shooter. And, he threw the up fake. He went through them.
Yeah.
And made a great pass to Tatum, and he made the easy layup. And I think that the Nets will look at the film and they'll make their adjustments appropriately. And I think that the Nets are going to. I don't think it's going. I think it's going 6. Nets.
Nets and 6 still. Okay. All right. I still have the Nets winning the series as well. I think it'll take all 7, but I still have the Nets winning this series. Minnesota beating Memphis on Saturday. That was the surprise of the weekend to me. Now what does it? Okay, I guess this is kind of a 2-part question. One, does this mean that Minnesota is really that team? They are for real. And then the second part is, how much pressure is it now on Ja and the Grizzlies to make sure they don't go down 0-2 going back to Minnesota? Dustin?
I think this is more of a wake-up call than anything for Memphis, mainly because Memphis is one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, and they probably picked the worst time to play one of their worst defensive games of the year. I don't see Minnesota being able to handle Memphis as easy as they did again this series. Yes, you have Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns that you're going to have to deal with on a nightly basis, as they both had nearly 30-point games, but you had Beasley drop 23 points off the bench. I don't think Beasley is going to be able to give them 23 points off the bench again. And I don't see this series going more than 6 games. I think Minnesota is going to get 1 game in Minnesota, but I think that's it. I think the Grizzlies will finish them off in 6. I still think Memphis has a good shot to come out of the Western Conference and make it to the finals, but they do have to play a lot better than what they played in this one. There's not a lot of pressure, in my opinion, on Memphis, just because this was a young team that nobody expected to be where they are. A lot of people had them as kind of one of those play-in teams to get into the playoffs this year, or at best maybe a number 5 or a number 6 seed. Not a lot of people had them finishing number 2 in the East, so they don't have a ton of pressure, in my opinion, at this point, just because they're kind of playing with house money at this point. They had their great regular season. They got to where they got to go. Now they just got to get back to playing the way they did during the regular season to show why they are the 2 seed.
Okay, Mike, your thoughts?
Well, before I go and give you my thoughts about the particular game, first of all, I'm very happy that the NBA has having more parity. You got the, if you recall, gentlemen, 2-3 years ago, where was Minnesota? Where was Memphis? But now you get parity in the league, which I think is going to make the NBA even more productive. I think it's going to be great to watch NBA basketball games because you have more parity now. As far as Memphis is concerned, I think Minnesota play out of their mind. Edwards is not going to play like that every single game. There's no way he's going to be getting 30 points a game doing what he does. Great player. I think he has a great future ahead. But I also think, and then Cat play out of his mind as well. So I think that Memphis has the deeper bench. They have, I think, equitable or as close to the starting team as Minnesota. I'm going with Memphis. Like my man, the stat guy said, a wake-up call. It was a wake-up call. But I'm going with Memphis. Absolutely.
Okay. Just like you said, Mike, I'm looking at the box score here. So Anthony Edwards had 36. He was 12 for 23. Cat had 29. He was 11 for 18. Michael Beasley coming off the bench had 23. So everything worked in the Timberwolves' favor in game one. Ja had 32. So we still have Memphis winning this series.
Can I make a point?
Yes.
When the opposing team when the team has home court advantage within the first two games, as long as you take one of them, it balances the whole series out. So if the Nets win game two and the Grizzlies win game two, it balances everything out. So it makes a difference. It definitely makes a difference. So yes, I'm still going with Memphis. Absolutely.
Still going with them. Okay. Dustin, you still have
I originally had Memphis winning in 5, but I'm going to change it to 6 just because I think Memphis takes game 2, and then I think they split at Minnesota, but then I think Memphis will finish them off the final 2.
Good, man. That's good.
Okay. I still have Memphis. Damian has Memphis in 7. The only way I see it going 7 is if
they have another game like they had in game 1 between Edwards, Towns, and pretty much everybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
So if they have another game like that or another 2 games like that, then I could see it going 7. If Memphis goes down 2-0, I could see it going 7 then. But I'm gonna stick with Memphis in 6. I think they'll get it done in 6 games. Damian had a question on the Nets. So he asked, do y'all think the Nets should play Ben Simmons after what happened in game 1? Mike, you think Ben Simmons needs to play?
It's tough because he hasn't played all year long, and he's with a new team. I don't know how much effect he's going to have, especially on the offensive side. But defensively, because of his length and because his defensive ability, I think he could be a little bit of a help in short spur moments, like maybe 10, 15 minutes a game. How much of an effect is he going to have? I don't know. But at the bottom line, you done got him for the reason playoffs. That's what you got him for. You got him to play in the playoffs. That's why you took that chance and the opportunity to make that trade. And so far, it seems like it's paying off for Philadelphia more than it is for the Nets. So, because he's not playing. Harden's not having a great postseason so far, but he played pretty good the other day. I think that would I play him in spurts defensively because he can play 1 through 5. I think that he could be beneficial for short periods of time. Okay. Just don't get him to the foul line.
Yeah, don't let him shoot no free throws. Yeah. So, all right. So, Dustin, you think Ben Simmons should play in this series?
I mean, they could have used them on that last possession, but outside of that, I don't think they need to play him at all. Just because you have to look at just how well Boston played, how poorly some of the players on Brooklyn played, and how the final score indicated. Brooklyn, I know, is not panicking at this point. If they fall behind 2-0, then they might reconsider bringing him in this series. But as long as they can get through the series, I don't think they need him until the next round. I think you just kind of let him get up to speed and kind of get what you can get out of him. Now, if it ends up being like 3-1 or kind of like one of those must-win elimination games, then yes, I would bring him in, especially for like the defensive side of things. But you can't count on him to give you much on offense. And as long as you're getting production from guys like Irving, Durant, and Curry, you can deal with Ben Simmons giving you maybe 8 to 10 points on offense as long as he's giving you the defense that he typically plays.
Yeah, I feel like they should only use Simmons if it's a must-win game. I don't think they need Ben Simmons to win this series. As we saw yesterday, the Nets can beat the Celtics without him. But in that situation, on that last possession of the Celtics, they could have used Ben Simmons on that. So we'll see what they decide to do.
I would argue that the Nets need Patty Mills more than Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
can see that.
And also, fellas, Greg, you said you wouldn't use Ben Simmons unless it was a crucial game or whatever.
Crucial, yeah.
Okay, but check it out. He hasn't played one game yet. You need him to play some games to get accustomed to playing. You can't just put him in one game and expect him to do whatever is expected of him. He needs to get in the flow, get into game condition, and game actual plays, and get accustomed to playing with his teammates. Because right now he hasn't done that. So to go put him in one game, I think would be detrimental. I think if you play him in a couple of games to get him ready, I think that would help if you're going to use him. Like my man over there said, you don't really need him, but he could be very instrumental effect, especially on the defensive end. So, but I wouldn't put him in for just one game. I would have him prepare himself, play a couple of games, get ready to go, and then we'll see a better Simmons. How good? I don't know. Just can't keep him at the end of the games because they're going to foul him. So you can't keep him at the end of the games. But I think for that 10, 15-minute stretch, to give Durant or whatever a break or somebody to play, because he can play 1 to 5, and he could be a very helpful teammate, I think, if given the fact he can only play maybe 10, 15 minutes. Any more than that could be a problem.
All right. Now, Pride. What's up, Pride?
Oh, wow.
What's up, Pride?
Oh, man.
He said the Nets got to play Simmons regardless. And you got to play him now because if they need him later in the playoffs, he won't be game. True. That's true. That's true. Oh, we lost Mike right there. I'm sure he'll pop back in. That's true. He needs to get, some gameplay so we can get a little bit of get his legs under him. The scenario you don't want to have if you're the Nets is you don't want him to not play this series, and then the next round you play game 1 at Philly, and boom, he has to come in and play game 1 at Philly in that next round. So, yeah, they could use him as far as get some of that rust off of him to avoid that scenario, which is Ben Simmons coming back his first game at Philly.
And I think the best case scenario for the Nets right now is if you're going to use them, don't use them until the fourth quarter. If the game is close, you bring him in the fourth quarter and basically be that defensive stopper that you need in that final quarter. If they want to follow him in the final quarter, that's one thing, but as long as he can make plays on defense, it's not going to matter because there's a lot of plays if you rewatch the final 3 minutes of that game against Boston on Saturday, or Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it was, that Simmons probably makes a lot of those plays. And if Simmons is in there during that final quarter against Boston, who knows how that game ends up.
True.
Because he'd be guarding Jason Tatum one-on-one. He'd be guarding Jaylen Brown. He'd be guarding the go-to guys for Boston. And Ben Simmons, for as bad as he is offensively, he's a great defensive player who can take the other team's best player out of a game.
All right, so you could put Simmons on either Kyrie or KD in those situations late in the game. Mike, I do see what you're saying on that. Let Ben Simmons play, get his legs so he can be more useful later on down the line for the Nets.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, you get a guy coming, big expectations to help the Nets. More so defensively because the Nets are so bad defensively. And I don't even know how he hurt his back. I want to know how did he hurt his back? That's what I want to know. Anyway,
he hurt his back from sitting on the bench all year.
Yeah. Anyway, he seems to be playing full court during practice. And, as long as his mental state of mind is going to be okay, as long as he ain't going to shoot outside. You know he's going to penetrate, dish off, play great defensively, rebound with his length. He can definitely contribute in a big way if, in fact, his head's in the right place. And something? I would if he's healthy, I'm playing him. Not a lot, but I'm playing him to see what kind of mental state he's in and how he's playing with his teammates and how he affects the game, and then go from there.
Yeah, I agree. Price said exactly. You got to get him in now, so that way later down the road you have the best Simmons you can possibly have, at least defensively. True. That is all that is.
Why is Pride copying me? Why is Pride copying everything? What's going on with that?
I guess that means that great minds think alike. So there.
All right, I'll go with that. I'll go with that. Yeah. I'll go with that.
Great minds think alike. Let's touch on real quick here this Jazz and Mavs series.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. Luka is out again for game 2. Can Dallas win this series without Luka? Because it seems like they're gonna have a hard time if Luka is not playing. We'll start with Dustin.
This was the other series that I had going 7 games with Brooklyn and Boston, but without Luka, I don't know how much of a chance Dallas has. Yes, they played very well in game 1. They only lost by 6. But going to Utah, we know how much of a home court advantage Utah always has, especially in the playoffs. And if you don't have a fully healthy Luka Doncic going into Utah, you're probably not going to win a game in Utah. So they need to win game 2 to at least have a shot to come back home, in my opinion. Dallas is talented enough to win that series, but without Luka, I don't think they can beat Utah just because Utah has the postseason experience being there 6 years in a row, as opposed to this is just Dallas' second playoff appearance in the last 5 years, and a lot of the roster that Dallas has right now hasn't even been in the playoffs.
Yeah, true. Mike?
Well, fellas, as you all know, Luka is ball dominant. So they've had to play with him being ball dominant. And now the fact that he's not, well, we don't know when he's coming back. But I think that's what hurt them in game 1 because they're so used to him because he handles the ball. He does the pass and he does the shooting. And they depend on him so much. And it's an adjustment. And if they can make that adjustment, I think they'll be able to play a lot better. I think Brunson's in a contract year. I think he needs to play even better. Although he had a great regular season. But to answer your question, could they win without Luka? Absolutely not. Because again, they were so used to him being ball dominant and doing so many things, and that's why they got rid of Porzingis. So I think that they could be competitive, but can they win without Luka? I would say no.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no as well. Luka is as important to Dallas as Allen Iverson was to the Sixers the year they went to the finals.
Yep, I agree.
It's like, so imagine AI being hurt from the Sixers that season in the playoffs. They wouldn't have went to the finals, right? So the same thing here. They depend on Luka to do everything. And now that he's not there, everybody's like, well, what do we do on offense? Who's gonna take the shots now, and who's gonna get the offense going and all that? And so they're just kind of lost right now. And Jason Kidd is doing the best he can, but if Luka doesn't play in this series, I could see them getting swept. Honestly,
yeah.
Like, and that doesn't mean that Utah is this big bad team. It just means that when you lose your star player and you have nobody else that can fill that role for Dallas, I don't see how they win even one game.
And to piggyback off what you said, Greg, is that almost every team in the playoffs now have either 2 or more superstars. Look out, who is their superstar?
They don't have nobody else.
They don't have nobody. They don't have nobody.
Not nobody. Yeah. It's crazy. Dallas was the one team that only had the one star, and him being out has really, really hurt them in the series. Price said no one's copying you. My man. No Luka, no wins this series. I really agree. Price said y'all think Spencer can fill that role for one game for Dallas.
You know, I've been backing up because it's a little personal, fellas, because Brunson's dad, I played against him when he was at Temple, so it's a little personal thing. So I want the best for Brunson to succeed. So it's a little personal thing. So, but I think he can step up. I think he's had a great year. He knows he's in the contract year, and I think he's going to be. I think he's going to play a lot better. Are they going to win without Luka? No. But if Luka comes back, you never know. If Luka comes back, watch out.
Yeah, agree on that. Damien said, I think Dallas can win without Luka, just like Memphis can without Ja. Well, there's the only
he's wrong. Absolutely.
The big difference is Memphis went 20-2 without Ja Morant this year, and Dallas went 5-14 when Luka doesn't play.
I think that answered that question right there.
That's it.
I'm upset.
Yeah, I knew the record was really good for Memphis. I didn't know it was that good without Ja. 20-2, and then 5-14 with Dallas when Luka doesn't play. So Memphis, they have an actual team around Ja.
Yes.
Whereas in Dallas, it's just a one-man show, and now that man is down, they're in big trouble. And it looks like it can be a sweep, especially if Utah wins game 2. The Sixers blew out the Raptors.
Oh, okay.
131-111. Looking at the box score here. Embiid had 19. Maxey was the man.
Yes.
38 points, 14 for 21. So Harden had 22, so he didn't completely go missing, even though he was 6 for 17. We all have, I think we all have the Sixers winning this series. So beyond this, anything short of, anything short of the Eastern Conference Finals or NBA Finals, is that looked at as a failure for the Sixers, Dustin?
If Doc Rivers doesn't get him to the conference finals, he's gone. I'm going to put that out there right now. In terms of the way this game, or how the game unfolded and how the series unfolded, I give Nick Nurse and Toronto a ton of credit for what they did with the team they had this year. I did not expect them to surge in the second half the way they did to get up to the number 5 seed, so I want to give him a ton of credit for how much he was able to improve that roster. But out of all the playoff wins, not even taking the win away from Minnesota, I think this was the biggest statement win of the postseason so far because of one reason. You have the MVP candidate in Joel Embiid, who carried that team all season long on his back, end this game with 19 points. And yet your offense still scored 130 points because Tyrese Maxey had 38. If Embiid plays the way he did during the regular season, you're not going to need James Harden to give you 28 to 30 points. You can live with James Harden giving you 22 points. You're not going to need Maxey to give you 38 to 40 points. You can live with him giving you 20 points. But if you get 20 points out of Maxey, you get 20 points out of Harden, then you get your 30 points out of Embiid, there's not a team in the Eastern Conference that's going to want to play Philadelphia in a 7-game series.
Yeah. Mike?
Well, that guy's right on point. The thing with Philadelphia, and it was good that Maxey broke out, and the guy who's been getting the most heat besides Harden is Tobias Harris. So what you're doing by, Embiid getting his 19 points, the team point total was spread around everybody. So you just can't key on any one particular person. So the fact that Embiid only got 19, I think that's a great thing. I think the fact that the other players developed a little bit more confidence, and it's not just an Embiid show. And I think they can spread the floor out. They can do a lot of things. And Harden's getting a lot of heat, maybe deserved, maybe not. But the fact that they put so much of a emphasis and what they did, they gave away their future for Harden for the most part. So to answer your question, they got to make the finals. If they don't, it's a bust. All they did to get Harden and all the picks they gave away and all the money they paid, if it don't happen this year, like Doc's gone. Doc's out. Gotta go.
Yeah, the heat is on Doc. Doc's on the hot seat. If they don't get to the conference finals, I can definitely see him being gone as well. If James Harden is the reason why this doesn't work, you thought Philly fans were mean to Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
That's going to be an ugly scene if James Harden is the reason why this thing didn't work. So stay tuned for that. Another game I wanted to mention from yesterday was the Bulls and the Bucks series. Bucks ended up winning the game 93-86, closer than what I thought the game would be. The Bulls showed fight. They hung in there till late in the fourth. Is this a good sign for the Bulls? Does this mean, hey, we're going to actually have a series here? Or was it kind of the Bucks just kind of taking them for granted for a little bit, and then they all of a sudden woke up and said, hey, we need to start actually playing because it's the fourth quarter and it's tied? So, Mike, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, y'all got to remember, Milwaukee had a lot of time off, so they're rusty. So I think that they're going to be fine. The Bucks, present NBA champion until they get beat. They got they're battle tested. They're healthy. Milwaukee's going to be fine. The home court advantage throughout the series. They're going to be fine. I'm happy with Chicago. They show some heart, some gusto, and but they're not ready yet. Not having ball, that hurt a lot for the Bulls, and Milwaukee's going to handle that no problem. It may be a sweep, fellas, maybe 5.
Okay. Stat guy.
I'm a Bulls fan, so out of all the playoff matchups that the Bulls got, this was the one that I did not want them to have. And if you ask me, I think Milwaukee lost on purpose to Cleveland, knowing that if they won, they would have got Brooklyn, and if they lost, they would have got Chicago. You have a Milwaukee Bucks team that is 18-1 against Chicago over their 19 games, 12-0 against Chicago, or now 13-0 against Chicago over their last 3 years. Giannis has lost one career game against Chicago. He's lost more than that, counting the first time he's ever played him in the playoffs, but he's lost one game in the last 20 against Chicago. And you have a Bulls team that started off 27-11 and then were 38 and I think 20 at one point, leading the Eastern Conference until Alonzo Ball and all those pieces went down. So we saw how good Chicago was at one point this season before the injuries caught up to them. And I know every team has to deal with injury, so I'm not going to use that as an excuse. But the injuries that Chicago had weren't just injuries. You had Lonzo Ball, missed the final 3 months of the season with a torn MCL. You had Alex Caruso out for 2.5 months with a wrist injury, and we saw how important Alex Caruso is to that team last night for what he did on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
You had Patrick Williams miss the first 5 months of the season with a wrist injury. So out of 82 games, Chicago had a fully healthy roster for a total of 10 games. And when they had their fully healthy roster, they were 9-1. So we don't even know how good the Chicago team could be if they had a fully healthy roster. And I'm not going to say they're not ready to make the playoffs, because they did everything they did. They got to the playoffs for the first time in 5 years with the injuries they dealt with. They had that huge COVID outbreak where 13 players were out with COVID at one point in December, and they still were in the position they were in. You look at last night, Vucevic had 24 points and 17 rebounds. But then you had Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan score 18 points each. Those three guys combined shot 13 of 60 from the field. I don't see those three shooting that poorly again. If those three even get close to the way they played during the regular season, the Bulls have to like their chances to at least make a series out of this, just because of how much they took away from Milwaukee on the defensive side last night. They played physical 1990 style defense on Milwaukee last night, and the Bucks didn't like it. You could see how frustrated the Bucks were, especially in the second half. They didn't like the physicality the Bulls brought to them. They didn't like the way Caruso was basically having his own with anybody on the floor the entire second half, and it took Milwaukee a lot to get going. I don't see the Bucks turning it over 23 times again in the rest of the series, but I also don't see DeRozan and LaVine shooting as poorly as they did. If you get the DeMar DeRozan from the regular season showing up last night, Bulls probably win that game by 7 or 8 points as opposed to the Bucks winning by 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm seeing it here. DeRozan was 6 for 25.
Yeah, he don't do that. No, he don't.
DeRozan was 6 for 25. Vucevic was 9 of 27, and LaVine was like 5 of 20 something. If those three players shoot the way they shot during the regular season, the Bulls win that game by double digits.
You have a good point there, stat guy.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if they don't shoot poorly like that, they would have won yesterday. So them only losing by 7, I feel like it's a good sign.
Especially after Milwaukee opened the game on a 22-5 run, where Bulls could have just packed it in right there and said, all right, let's just go to game 2.
All right, exactly. Yeah, so the Bulls showed fight. They hung in there all game. I think this is going to be longer than what we all thought it was going to be. I said the Bucks would win in 5 as well. I'm going to say 6 now. I think the Bulls will win 2. Giannis is still doing his thing.
Giannis should have fouled out with 3 minutes left in the game last night, though, because that was not a foul on Patrick Williams. I don't care what anybody says.
Agreed.
Giannis went over the top. Giannis went over the top of him and pushed him to the ground, but yet Williams gets called for the foul, and Chicago was winning by 1 point when that happened. If you get Giannis out of that game with 3 minutes left, Bucks don't recover.
Yeah, that's when that. Yeah, when that happened, I was like, oh, so. So okay, so they don't want him to foul out, like so,
right?
They don't want him to foul out. Damn, is there a ref gate? I'm sure he's talking about that play.
Well, I know Pride was talking about this last night too.
Mm-hmm.
And being from Wisconsin, I see a lot of the Bucks games anyways. But Milwaukee gets away with a lot of calls at home. You watched that game last night. Giannis would barely get touched, and they're calling a foul. But then you have guys like LaVine and DeRozan getting thrown to the floor like the entire second half, and they're getting nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do you have to figure out how to beat a team that's had your number the last 4 years, they had to beat the referees last night too. And the fact that they only lost by 7 shocks me completely. I still think Milwaukee sweeps them. They might go 5 games. But the Bulls are going to make Milwaukee earn this. It's not going to be a cakewalk that everyone thought based on the way the teams have played the last 3 years. Chicago's going to make them earn it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And that's part of that home cooking that comes with playoffs. I always say no matter what sport it is, football, basketball, when you're at home in the playoffs, you're gonna get certain calls that you wouldn't get if you were on the road. So that's part of it. Unfortunately, it worked against the Bulls yesterday.
And that's why teams, most teams, play so hard to get that home court advantage. Me and Pride went at it, but as always. But I mean, you as a team, you want to get that home court advantage for the home cooking, for the crowd, for everything, and getting the calls.
And what people don't realize, the Chicago Bulls had the best home record in the Eastern Conference up until the final week of the regular season when they had a 1-4 homestand. But heading into that final homestand, Chicago had the best record in the East in terms of home records. Wow. So Chicago is going to do very well for games 3 and 4 at home because they were 20. I think they finished 28 and how many games? They played 41 games at home, right? I think they finished 28 and 13 at home, but they were 28 and 9 at one point heading into that final week of the season. So Chicago earned their record based off of how well they played at home. They were under 500 on the road, which is never good, especially when you're 9 games under 500 on the road, but they made up for it at home. So that's going to be, I think, the telling point too. Even if they go down 2-0, when they come to the United Center, they had a better home record than the Bucks had this year. So we've seen how rowdy that United Center crowd gets for the playoffs. You can go back to when Derrick Rose and everybody was there the last time Chicago was making the playoffs and how difficult it was for any team to come into the United Center and knock Chicago off. So I'm not going to be surprised to see Chicago win Game 3. If they found a way to win Game 4, I wouldn't be surprised just because of how that United Center crowd is to come playoff time.
Yeah. So even if the Bucks go up 2-0, this can still be a good series just because the Bulls play so well at home. Danny's question was, do y'all think if Tristan would have had more time in the game, the Bulls could have won?
I don't necessarily think that it would have mattered just because what is Tristan Thompson going to bring to the table offensively?
Zero.
You had your three best players shoot under 33%.
Right.
And yet you still only lost by 7. Tristan Thompson's not going to shoot 50 or 60%. He's not going to get you more than 6 points on the offensive end. So he gets you 6 points, you still lose by 1. So the only situation where he plays more is if Vucevic is in foul trouble. And if Vucevic is in foul trouble, well, then the game's over anyways because he's the only big that you have that can consistently score.
True. Mike?
Tristan Thompson, wow. I tell you what, he owes a debt of gratitude to LeBron because he got that big contract. We all know he got that big contract all because of LeBron. And then Tristan went to the Celtics. Was he effective? He did a little something. He did all right. But as far as him with the Bulls, he's going to give you a little bit of defense, a little bit of offensive rebounding. That's about it. If he had played more time, I don't think it would have made a major impact whatsoever.
Okay. I agree. I don't think it would have made that much of a difference, especially not on the offensive side. And that's what the Bulls needed. They needed somebody that could score. And Tristan Thompson wasn't going to do that. He might give you some good defense here and there, but it wasn't going to be enough to be the difference of the Bulls winning this game. So we look forward to tonight. We got 3 games tonight. Nuggets and Warriors game 2 is tonight. That's the one we haven't talked about. Golden State looked good. Jokic looked good, even though they lost. Do the Nuggets have a chance to shock us and win this series, or is it just Golden State going to go ahead and take care of them?
If I'm the Western Conference, I'm worried about Golden State right now because of what Jordan Poole did.
Yeah.
Jordan
Yeah.
Poole played like Stephen Curry. Jordan Poole took that game over, and Stephen Curry came off the bench. You know Stephen Curry's only going to get better the more time he has on the court. You know
Yes.
Klay Thompson's going to be Klay Thompson and do what Klay Thompson does. You know Draymond Green is going to do what he does. But if you can consistently get that kind of production from Jordan Poole, how are you going to guard Golden State?
Can't. You can't. That's the thing. Jordan Poole could be the X factor.
Because you still have Wiggins. And
Yeah.
Wiggins, we've seen Wiggins take over games too. If you're getting four guys that can give you 20 points the moment they step on the court, how do you guard that team in a 7-game series?
Whew. That's hard. That's hard, definitely. Mike.
Well, you know, Stat Man, you know, you be taking my word, Stat Man. I'm getting upset with you right now. Everything he says is true. You know what I mean? Golden State, you know, who was it made a comment that that they're scary now. If they come healthy and like Statman said, Poole's playing out of his mind. Steph's gonna be Steph. Clay's gonna be Clay. You got Green back, healthy, doing the damn thing that he normally does. They have the experience. They're tough team to play, and they're not gonna be no joke. At first, I was like, nah, Golden State ain't gonna do nothing this year. And even despite all the things that have happened to them, losing Clay and everything, they have come to have a pretty good year. And I think Golden State is going to be a team to be reckoned with, especially the way Poole's playing, you know, and Wiggins, and Green, and Curry, and the bench. I mean, they got everything going. But as far as Denver, come on, man, come on. They done lost Murray. They lost Porter. And you know what's funny? I'm not meaning to degrade anybody, but if y'all notice, Porter went out right after he signed that max contract. I'm just saying. But anyway, I'm going with Golden State on that one. Maybe 6, maybe 5, 6. Murray's supposed to come back. Maybe. I heard maybe not. He still ain't going to be as effective as he was in the bubble. In the bubble, he was the man, but I don't think that's going to be expected of him to come back right now. Again, missing so much time. And right now, hey, on TV right now, they're blasting Jokic. They're blasting him. So, Stephen A. They're all over him. But anyway, I'm going with Golden State. Golden State.
Okay.
And the sad part about it, I made a lot of people realize this last year. What people don't realize about Golden State last year, they basically had a free year to suck. And the reason why I say that is you had Klay Thompson out all last year. So you knew he wasn't going to play. Then Stephen Curry injures his thumb that first month of the season and gets shut down for 4 months. At that point, you pretty much knew Golden State was going to pack it in, basically tank without tanking to get a very good draft pick. And then it allowed Thompson and Curry to get healthy. You bring in Wiggins, you get Poole, you have Green. James Wiseman's going to be back next year. That team literally got better by not even having to do anything because they got to take a year off to let their guys heal up.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, they did. And they only made the play-in last year and weren't able to make it out of that. So yeah, basically a free year, you know, just like you said, and ended up being to Golden State's benefit, certainly. Let me go back to what Iverson Vlog said here real quick. According to reports, Jamal Murray and MPJ said they aren't ruling out a return in round 1.
See, told y'all. I told y'all.
Now, let's say that happens. Even if that does happen, I still feel like Golden State is going to win this series.
Oh yeah.
Because Jamal Murray, you can't do nothing all season and then be like, boom, I'm gonna drop 35. Like, no, it doesn't work that way.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah, so would it be a little, interesting? Yes, possibly, but I still see, even if that did happen, I still see Golden State winning that series. Pride said Jordan Poole is not only the X factor, you can make an argument that he needs more ISO plays for him. Yeah. Yeah, Jordan Poole, you know what? That can make more ISO plays for him. Yeah,
I think that they'll definitely do that for him. The way he's been playing, I think they will definitely do that for him. I mean, he's coming out of his neck. I didn't expect him to be this good. I had no idea he was going to come off like he's been coming off.
Exactly. Yeah, he's definitely kind of come out of nowhere and helped Golden State. And if Memphis gets knocked out by Minnesota in the first round, it makes the road a little bit easier for Golden State going forward. Not having to play Memphis in that second round and instead playing Minnesota, if it ends up turning out that way.
And one thing I want to say, Greg, one thing before you go any further, and I'm sure Pride listening, but think about it. You got Poole coming in to a situation where look who he's playing with. He's playing with Hall of Famers. And to come in and play the way he's playing, basically with no conscience, I think that's a true testament to him.
Why do you think Wiggins is playing at the level Wiggins is playing at? He went from Minnesota, where he was the guy in Minnesota, to now going to a team where he is the third best option. Because you have Thompson and Curry as your top two options, and Wiggins goes and makes an all-star team this year because he's the third option and doesn't have to worry about carrying a team on his own anymore, even though he knows he can.
Yeah, good point. Very good point.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody is playing their role and everybody is comfortable in their role at Golden State. So dangerous team. Everybody was laughing when I said Golden State would make the finals. Everybody was, So we'll see how it shakes out. But the 3 games tonight. So we have Raptors Sixers game 2, Jazz Mavs game 2, Nuggets Warriors game 2. Your guys' picks for tonight. We'll start with Stat Guy.
I think Warriors in Philadelphia take care of business. I don't think they have any trouble.
Okay.
I am going to give Dallas the win in game 2 tonight because, like I said, it's a must-win game because I don't see them winning games 3 or 4 in Utah.
Okay. Mike?
I got Warriors, Philly, and is Luka playing tonight?
I don't think Luka is playing, no.
No, they said he's not going to play tonight.
Well, I guess y'all know my answer now. If he ain't playing, you know what I mean? That's a lot to ask. That's a lot to ask for Dallas to come through when your star player who's ball centric not to be there, and I can't see it happening.
I have Warriors winning tonight. I got the Jazz winning as well, and I believe the Sixers would take care of business with the Raptors as well.
Hey, but Greg, you didn't bring up the Atlanta Hawk game. How come you didn't bring that up?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because I want to talk about that one.
That was a forgettable game because it was dominated by Miami. But we can touch on that. So Miami wins game 1, 115-91 against the Atlanta Hawks. This looks like it might be a sweep. Did this really show that Miami is like, hey, we are the 1 seed. Y'all need to take us serious. We're not just, here by, default. Mike.
Great question. Miami, had if you all remember, they had a very poor beginning of the season, and they finished up very strong. Right now, they're healthy. A lot of people are saying Butler's not really a go-to guy, and the problem with Miami is that they have no really established finisher at the end of the game. But if you look at it, they do. They have a lot of people who can do a lot of things. They spread the floor. They pass the ball very well. They're very well defensively. And they're under the radar for some reason. I don't know. They haven't got the respect that I think that they deserve. But Miami's a tough team to beat in the East. And as far as Atlanta's concerned, Trae Young got, 8 points? That's not going to happen again. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, he was
so I expect Atlanta to be a lot more competitive against Miami, but I think Miami won up pulling that series out.
Stat guy.
Miami just sent a message. That's all that I'm going to say. Everyone has been overlooking Miami all season, and I don't understand why. Because, in my opinion, outside of Greg Popovich, Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA.
Yes,
he never gets the love he deserves for what he's done with that team. I mean, yes, he had LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh for 5 years, so maybe that's part of the reason why. But even after they left, he's built a winning franchise. He's carried them into the playoffs more often than not. He's gotten them to the NBA Finals. He's consistently a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. And when you look at the entire playoff field, the Miami Heat are the only team out of all 16 teams in the playoffs that don't have a superstar. They have all-stars. They don't have a superstar. Kyle Lowry is not a superstar. Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, they're not superstars. Jimmy Butler has played at a superstar level, but he's not a superstar because he's not consistent enough. And yet Miami still is the 1 seed. They still do what they do just because Eric Spoelstra knows how to coach.
PJ Tucker had 16 points.
Imagine that, huh? All from the corner. All from the corner. They should just put a spot because all he does is shoot from the corner, but he's effective.
That's it.
And he's a thug. Hey, and every team, I'm telling y'all right now, every team needs a thug. That's the thug for Miami. He got Butler too. But every team needs that thug mentality, and he brings it to them.
Yes, he does. He definitely brings that toughness to the Heat. And it's not bad when Duncan Robinson can come off the bench and score 27.
No, and the Hero
helps. Yeah, Hero. Like, this Miami team has a lot of weapons. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they did make it all the way to the final. I know everybody has, the Nets or they have the Bucks. But just like Stat Guy said, Eric Spoelstra is a very underrated coach for whatever reason.
And fellas, what y'all gotta remember too is that during the playoffs, as the playoffs get further and further along the way, it's all half-court set. And Miami, because they have such great perimeter shooting, it's gonna make a difference. Because it's having that perimeter game that they have. You guys didn't mention another guy who I know real well, Max Strauss. He played at DePaul, and he's coming on real strong the second half of the year. Another added offensive weapon as far as the perimeter is concerned, along with Robinson and Hero. Miami's going to be tough, especially in the half court. They're going to be tough.
Yes, it is. I have maybe Atlanta wins one game when they get back home because they are a very good home team.
Yep.
But that's gonna be it. And
they lost their big man. The big man's gonna be
Capella. Yeah.
Capella is out. That's right. Yeah.
That's gonna make a difference as well.
Yes.
I do want to give a shout out to Duncan Robinson too, because everybody knows Duncan Robinson as this sharpshooter that came from Michigan. He was a Division III college player that went to Williams College out in New York before transferring into Michigan. How in the world would nobody recruit this guy to be a D1 player coming out of high school?
And that's a great question. He went D. I was at D3, so I know exactly what you're talking about. So wow, you're right. I don't know how the scouting system, whatever. He can flat out shoot, and the fact he don't need the dribble. He don't need it. He can spot up and shoot.
I mean, he's from Maine. How did the Maine Black Bears not recruit him to be like their leader of their team out in the Northeastern Conference? Like, yes, Maine's not a very good Division I program, but they're still a Division I program. Like, how did he not get recruited to even go there?
That guy, good question. I'm in the Northeast myself. I'm from New Bedford, Mass, so I know all about him from the D3 level. I didn't know about him, going to Michigan and then going to the NBA. But he was well known around here. We all knew about him. We didn't know he was going to make the NBA, but we knew about him.
Duncan Robinson is very good. He's very good, and he should have been automatic Division I player in my opinion. But so once the Heat move on, they will match up with the Sixers in a potential second-round matchup. So.
Woo
boy.
If you want to look at realistically, let's just say Miami, Philadelphia, Boston, or Brooklyn and Milwaukee advance. And then you go to the West and you have Phoenix, Golden State, Memphis, and Dallas advance. Could we be looking at it in a second round where all 4 series go 7 games?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Could we honestly be looking at a playoffs where the rest of the playoffs go 7 games? Outside of this first round, like once you get to the conference semifinals, I would not be surprised to see the rest of the playoff series go 7 games because top 4 seeds in the East are all separated by 2 games. It's not like they're not familiar with each other. Yes, Phoenix ran away with the West, but they're still going to get battle tested from the West. I'm not going to be shocked to see the semifinals, the conference finals, and then the NBA finals all go 7 games.
And you know something too? Who benefits? We do. We get
the NBA does because it's more money for them. The more games that are going on.
Well, they benefit to it. You know what I'm saying, though. I mean,
this is
basketball like that.
Yeah, this is turning into one of the best playoffs the NBA has had in some time.
Yes.
And this is what they needed. In the 90s and early 2000s, the playoffs were always good. Always good. And it seemed like it kind of tailed off there the past few years, but now it's good to see good playoff games once more. Okay. Iverson Flowers said the Suns will play Utah or Dallas in the second round. So
I said it would be. I said Phoenix. I said Phoenix, Memphis, Golden State, and then Utah or Dallas would get into the second round. I wouldn't be surprised to see all the series go 7 games.
Yeah, it's possible Utah can win a couple against the Suns. The Suns should have no problems against the Pelicans. So, yeah, it's definitely going to get interesting. Price said the Heat in the finals do better. I'm just saying, if the way they're playing right now, I would not be surprised if Miami made the final.
You know, me and Pride go at it all the time, but he might have a good point there. They're under the radar. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
No, and
I'm going with Phoenix and Milwaukee.
Right.
And then I'm going with Phoenix. That's what I'm going with. I think Phoenix. I think Chris Paul. Look what he did yesterday. Stepped up 30 points.
Yeah.
He's 108 years old, and look what he's doing now. So watch out for Phoenix. They're healthy. Ayton has not got paid. Everybody in his rookie class has got max contracts.
That's why he's going to end up in Chicago next year.
If he does, watch out. So he's the only one that hasn't gotten paid from his rookie class. So he's out on a mission. Chris Paul is like 108 years old. I think he's destined to get his first NBA championship. Booker's playing out of his mind. They got a great defensive player. They have all the things intact. I think they're going to be fine.
I had Golden State and the Nets in the final. I'm going to go ahead and stick with it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Miami made it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I had Golden State and Brooklyn too, but I think I'm leaning towards Brooklyn and Memphis right now.
Brooklyn and Memphis.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah. That's the matchup I want to see in the second round. Golden State and Memphis. That'll be must-see TV for those 7 games.
That would be great. That would.
Miami is Utah Jazz 2.0. There are times where Miami has, Utah Jazzed it past few years. So yeah, I can see that. Damien had a question earlier. I want us to touch on it. If Mavs aren't anything without Luka, why isn't he in the MVP talks like everyone else who is carrying their teams, even though they do have help?
I can answer that real quick.
Okay.
I'm good at that. I can answer real quick. Where did they finish? In most cases, they usually take the MVP from one of the winning teams who at least have a first round pick to win at least the first round. Luka is he under consideration? I would say yes, but the fact that they finished where they finished, it does play a part. How much of a part? I don't know. I'm not a voter. I don't know. But if you look at most of the except.
Oh, Mike, your audio cut out there.
Division on top.
Okay, there we go.
In most cases, like Westbrook. I mean, he was an exception. But other than that, so to answer that question, that's why. They usually go the best player on the best team.
To answer
in
it
most cases.
To answer it a little bit further, who won the MVP last year?
Jokic.
Who's putting up better numbers this year than he did last year?
Jokic.
Who's leading his team in seven of the major categories on his team?
Jokic.
There's your answer why Luka's not in the MVP conversation.
Statman, you got me on that one again. Yeah. Okay, Paul. You may be going to that soliloquy. That's all you have to say.
Yeah, that's it. And
that's it. It's in a nutshell. Right there.
He leads in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, and one other category that Luka only leads in, I think, 4 of the 7.
Okay.
That's why he's a stat guy.
That's why, go to him for all the stats.
Hey, Greg, before we end this, I got a little question for both you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Since hold on, my phone back. I'll get back. Oh yeah, I got a.
Oh, okay. We'll wait for Mike to come back with that question. Yeah, I always felt like the MVP race is between Yoke and Embiid.
Yep.
So either one of those two win it, I am good with that. It doesn't matter which one. Luka, can he be a honorable mention? Yes, he did carry Dallas this year, but he didn't have a better season than
Jokic
or Embiid,
or Giannis or any of those guys.
Right, exactly. All right, Mike. You're back.
Well, guys, I apologize. My computer keeps going on and off, and nothing personal. I love you guys. It just keeps going on. Hey, technology is. That's not my friend. All right, Statman, Greg. I'm gonna hit y'all with this one. All right, y'all ready?
Yep.
Statman, you ain't gonna get this one, bro. I don't want to see no Google either. Name the only player, to be on a high school championship team, an NCAA championship team, an ABA championship team, an NBA championship team, and a gold medal. Have a good day with that one, Statman.
Was it recent or was it older?
Hey, I'm old school, so it's old. You know, I'm old as dirt, so it ain't gonna be like last week or something.
Was it Julius Erving?
Negative. Julius Erving never won an NCAA championship.
Okay.
Was it Bill Russell?
Bill Russell never played in the ABA.
Never played that.
Yo, I'm good, bro. I'm good. I have no Google with me.
The ABA ones, ABAs was throwing me off.
The gold medal's gonna throw you off.
I can't think of nobody.
Hey, Greg, it wasn't meant to. It was meant to stat guy. It wasn't meant to stat guy. It was for stat guy.
Clyde Drexler. I don't know.
No. But anyway, go ahead, Greg. I just want to, throw a little dig in because I am the historian, so I know my history. So that's why I decided to throw a little dig in there. Go ahead, Greg.
What was the
Oh, you want me to give you the answer that quick?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, Jim. How about if I give you the teams he played on? Then maybe you can have a better guess. How about that?
All right.
Okay. High school, Cincinnati. Collegiate, Cincinnati. ABA, Indiana. NBA, Boston Celtics. Bingo, Boston Celtics.
Oh, Larry Bird.
Larry Bird didn't play ABA.
Larry Bird went to Indiana State.
Right. And if I give the Olympic gold medal.
1984.
And no one, and stat guy, there's records are made to be broken. This one can never be touched. Nobody can do what this guy did. His record will never be touched. One of the very few NBA records, 3-point shots, fouls. This one can never be touched. But anyway, I just want to give you a little something.
Is it?
But figures, that's what Pride would say. He just likes to bust my, you know what?
It's not Jerry Lucas, is it?
Good, very good. Ohio State, very good. Very good. You know who he played with in college?
Mm-mm.
John Havlicek. But anyway, like I said, I have a vast knowledge in my head. I have no Google. But anyway, no, it wasn't him. Good guess though. Y'all ain't gonna get it. Ain't gonna get it.
I have no idea.
Okay, guys, when you get a chance, Greg, because I like this show, you gotta let me talk about Nate Archibald and me playing against Nate Archibald, and then 40 years later, seeing him and giving that same question I just gave to you all. Now he was with a guy who played in the ABA for 7 years, and this guy, because I used to do play-by-play and then broadcast over the mic, and at halftime I would give out trivia questions because I was the trivia king before Google and all that stuff. So I would give out stuff and I would talk about that same question. Even the ABA guys didn't know the answer. How's that?
Wow.
Yeah, you gotta let me tell that story. That's a great story. But anyway, y'all ain't gonna get it. But I'll tell you. I'll give you even a better hint. This individual played with Bill Russell. When Bill Russell was player coach, which you guys probably don't know that he did that. But yeah, he's player coach for the Celtics. Yes. But hey, this is your show. I'm just your show. You do what you gotta do.
I am stumped. I have no more guess.
Casey Jones is another one that I don't think he went to Ohio.
Casey Jones went to the University of San Francisco, played with Bill Russell. Bro, I know it all, bro. That's why I'm a historian. I know it all. No, Casey Jones didn't play ABA.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, gentlemen, what I'd like to tell you all before we go, about 3 months ago, I interviewed Sam Jones, a 10-time NBA champion. And I have a perspective that you guys, I keep saying I'm a historian. Guess what? I'm not. Anybody can read a book. Anybody can study. Anybody can do all that and claim you're a historian. But when you talk to someone whose history made a world of difference, I keep claiming that, but I ain't no historian. After talking to him and what he went through in Boston, how when Bill Russell won an NBA championship, comes home to find his house on fire. I am not no historian because I didn't live it. I can read about it. I can talk about it. I didn't live it. But when you talk to someone who has lived it, means a world of difference, brothers. That's all I got to say. Greg, man, do your thing, bro, because I get emotional when I talk about this stuff.
Definitely, that is some good stuff right there. We appreciate you sharing that. Price say Jokic deserves MVP, but Luka doesn't deserve to be in the conversation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see how. But I'm good with Yo Quincy. That's awesome. If Embiid wins, it's awesome. So they both win. So Stat Guy, I wanted to touch on the AJ Brown and Debo not reporting for workout until a new deal is released.
Yeah, so how do you think this is going to end for them, knowing what the receiver market went with this year? Obviously, Terry McLaurin, I'm not going to put in the Devontae Adams conversation. AJ Brown, I'm not going to put up there with those guys. Debo has an argument because of what he can all bring to the table. But do you see any of these guys getting the deals that those receivers did?
Okay, Mike, you go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Greg. Yeah. So you can think about it a little bit more, Tahir. What I think is that, with the influx of all these wide receivers receiving the contracts that they're receiving, Debo obviously is upset, and we still have a couple other wide receivers who are in question, and we always the main guy that comes up all the time is Metcalf. So we got to be careful about that as well. Wow, that's a tough one. And fellas, I'm telling you right now, y'all gonna laugh. Y'all better watch out for Antonio Brown. Somebody gonna pick him up. I'm telling you right now, somebody gonna pick him up. Yeah, I know. Hey, somebody gonna pick him. And you know who that might be? It might be the Ravens, because you know who he works out with? The quarterback for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson. I'm just saying. And sharp money too. I'm just saying. Do I agree with it? Probably not. But sharp money, could pay dividends. If he, he's out of his mind. But if they can control him, and Baltimore's not known for having great wide receivers. I'm just saying. I'm not a football guy. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make any sense to you guys at all?
I mean, I don't agree with Antonio Brown being on anybody's list.
But guess what? If you can play, they're going to get you. Look at the Dallas Cowboys. You got guys who had 8 rifles on the bed, and they still hide. You know what I'm talking about. They've been known to take players who've had questionable past. I'm just saying. If you can play, look what the Cleveland Browns did. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean,
Mhm.
I'm just saying. His cases haven't even been resolved yet. And he getting offered the biggest contract ever. Why is that? Without it, the case has even been resolved. And remember, he's still got the civil cases. Then you got the criminal charges coming. But you're going to give him an all guaranteed money. Talk to me now.
Yeah.
All guaranteed.
Well, the thing is, that is kind of where the whole Baker Mayfield thing comes into play too.
Yeah.
Cleveland doesn't want to trade him for a reason. They don't know if Watson can play. Why would you trade a guy that you know can start if you might not have Watson for the season?
Good question. I wouldn't pay him all that money, guaranteed. I wouldn't. But
yeah, that's Cleveland went on a limb.
Oh, they did.
That's why Baker Mayfield's going to end up in Arizona.
Yeah, that's weird too. Like the whole Kyler Murray thing.
Oh, I know, huh?
He wants guaranteed money. And I'm like, well, yeah, you've had 2 good seasons, but what makes you think you need a big contract?
Want me to tell you why, Greg? It's because it's what the market is giving out. So they're going, his agent or whoever advising them, they're going by what the market states. So if this guy who has all these extenuating circumstances, which haven't been resolved yet, gets to that, and I've been a good citizen on and off the field, why can't I get that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I get
it. If you look at it, hey, well, he getting that. Look what he did.
Yeah. I mean, he's put up numbers. I mean, he's had, like I said, he's had 2 good seasons. I'm just like, there's no. Like you don't have to go this route. You still can play the season out and try to figure out a deal instead of going the route he's going. But I agree with you, Daniel. AB don't need to be on a football team.
I agree. But he will be. He will be. He will be. Whether we agree or not, he will be, because guess what? He can do things on the field that a lot of players can't do. And if you're an owner or general manager and you see you can get him for sharp money 1 year or whatever, I'm just watch out for Baltimore. Well, I'm letting y'all know. Watch out.
AB will sign with the Pittsburgh Maulers.
Hey. I'm not gonna.
I'm just ready for him to be gone. But oh well. Somebody's gonna get. Mike Daniel said, "Is Kevin McHale the answer?"
Kevin McHale went to the University of Minnesota. Got drafted by the Celtics. Kevin McHale never played in the ABA, and Minnesota never won a NCAA championship.
Okay.
And as you can see, I'm rumbling right off the top of my head. I ain't got no book. I ain't got no Google. Hey, back in the day, though, I'll tell you why. I don't want to bore your show, but I've been doing this since I was 12 years old. I'm 61. So I know what teams, players, I can tell you their number, what school they went to. I'm retired in that way. So I just know the game so much. I love the game so much. And I've had the opportunity to play, like I said, against Dr. J, Nate Archibald, then involved with, I got to tell you the Red Auerbach story. But I got stories, so I just like to convey them before, who knows, maybe who knows how long I got. I don't know. Sitting down with Sam Jones, and he passed away 2.5 months ago. You kind of, you look at your longevity and your legacy and what you got left. So
yeah, that's
why I love coming on the show with you guys and everybody else. Who knows? You never know.
Yeah, definitely on that. The Debo thing with the 49ers.
Oh wow, he's a beast too.
He need to get all the money. He need to take Jimmy G's money. All the money.
He's a beast. I don't know.
I don't know why the 49ers won't pay him. But Debo, if you want to come to the East, we'll give you some money. We'll give you some money, Debo. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see how those shake out. Did anybody have any other topics before we sign off?
What did you guys think of the opening weekend of the USFL?
Wow, good question. Yeah, I think that it was exciting. I mean, to see football in the springtime. I mean, the talent level obviously is a step below, but it was good seeing football. I think some of the players are really good. I think all the new things that they imparting with the microphones in the helmet and all of additions they're making for the league is going to bring about the NFL is going to do the same damn thing that they're doing eventually, because you get to hear more of an inside scoop on the game itself, the plays that are being called. I definitely and the thing that's in the football, y'all know about that? They have something in the footballs that they can tell if it's a first down or not. I mean, ingenuity, all the cameras that they have, I think it's going to make the game a lot more interesting for us to watch, especially when it's 90 degrees out where we're at, to watch spring football. Things like that nature will definitely add to the game, and I think that the NFL is going to adapt very soon.
Yeah, I like what they use for the football for them to know if it's the first down or not. I think the NFL should definitely do that. The only game that I kind of looked at was the one that was on Saturday night. It was a pretty good game. It looks like it's gonna do well. I mean, it was some good football being played. So we'll see. But it was a good start for the US.
I like the drone cam that they have put in place. And I think the NFL really needs to bring that into the equation.
Yep.
Yeah, they could definitely use that.
Oh, here goes my phone again.
Damien brought up a point here. I don't know, because I don't get why USFL is only using one city to play every game. Makes no sense at all. I did not know they were doing it.
I didn't either. Got me on that one.
No, I didn't know they were doing it.
It's for financial flexibility. Because you had the AAF that folded. Then you had the XFL that folded just because of COVID. But keeping everything in one city limits the travel expenses and limits all the outside expenses that force the league to fold if it didn't work.
Well, you guys know something too. The fact that the USFL now they have more of a way better TV contract. So a lot of the games are going to be televised. Where when the USFL started at the beginning with that guy named Donald, former president, whatever his name is. Anyway, when he was running, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
when he was running in charge of it. They didn't have the exposure, but now they have the exposure now. And I think it's going to be a very good product. They're going to have a lot of sponsors, and I think it's going to be very good. Because, again, the TV contracts is what makes the money. Once you get the TV contracts, you're good.
The problem they're going to run into next year. When the XFL comes back,
yep,
that's going to cripple the USFL.
Yeah, because people are going to watch XFL over USFL.
Hey. But you know something, at the end of the day, fellas, for real, looking at it from my perspective, look at how many jobs that is creating. Guys who maybe have not good enough to play in the NFL can still continue playing. The owners, the beverage, food. I mean, it creates so many jobs and creates so many things, which is going to better the economy. I think overall, it's a great thing, and gets an opportunity for players who may not be able to make or need to work on things to get back to the NFL or to learn things to get into the NFL. I think it's a good product. I mean, obviously it's at the beginning stages, so it's not going to be overwhelmingly popular right now, but I think it will eventually.
Yeah, it can be used for these NFL teams to look for kind of those diamonds, those hidden gems out there to add to their team. Remember, Kurt Warner played in NFL Europe.
And he was working in the supermarket. He was working in the supermarket, bagging the food. I know. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So they are out there. They're out there. So we'll see how that works out. If that is it, gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and sign off.
Let me give me, because I know if he was like, well, what the hell is the answer? Let me give you all the answer. So yes, because I know before they go, what the guy's, but his name is Tom Thacker. His name is. You can look it up now. You can go Google it. His name is Tom Thacker.
Tom Thacker. Okay. I'm definitely gonna Google that.
I know you will.
Tom Thacker. Yes. That is awesome. He won all the championships. That's good. That's awesome.
And going off of what Michael said a couple minutes ago about that chip inside the football.
Yeah.
According to a lot of the place kickers in the USFL, that chip is actually messing up their kicking.
Oh.
And if you watch the kicks over the weekend, not only did they miss their field goals, but they weren't close.
Wow.
So it's messing with the kind of with the PSI and the football or something?
It's like, I don't know if it makes the ball like top heavy depending on where the chip is, but when they kick it, it just doesn't seem like it's coming off their foot.
Good point. Good. I did not know that. Oh. Good. Wow.
Well, in that case, NFL do not use that.
Yeah, right. I was wrong then. I was wrong. Take it back what I said. I was wrong.
Because I don't want it costing nobody no Super Bowl or
no.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and not do it. But this has been ASAP in the morning for Stat Guy and Tom, man. I am Greg. We thank you for watching, and we will see y'all tomorrow.
Thank y'all for having me, man.
Oh yeah. Anytime, Mike. Appreciate it.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.